How I ran a 3 hour and 34-minute marathon in less than 16 weeks without running 5 times a week, speed intervals, or hills. Are you a runner who is sick and tired of getting injured from running 4 to 6 times a week while training for your half or full marathon? And all you want is an easier and safer way to run your marathon. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can start training for your half or full marathon today without running 5 times a week, speed intervals, or hills, so you can avoid injuries, get injured, and finish your marathon with the time that you're proud of, ultimately becoming a strong runner. There are two types of runners: a strong runner and a weak runner. A strong runner is someone who runs 3 times a week, strength trains 3 times a week, runs injury-free, has a lean, strong, toned body, feels strong on their runs, and sets a PR on their marathon. A weak runner is someone who runs 5 times a week, doesn't strength train, gets injured, skips workouts, is overweight, hits a wall on their race, has to walk during the race, runs slow, and runs a 5+ hour marathon. Which one are you right now? If you are a weak runner, chances are you are injured, or at the very least been injured before, which leads you to being in pain and not able to run, while making you feel nervous about being prepared for your upcoming race. You've tried running through it, taking some time off, and even going to physical therapy, but you're still running in pain. Then pay attention to what I'm about to share with you, because this very well could be the video that changes everything for you, just like it did for me and just like it did for my client Karen. See, Karen was right where you are. She was training for the London Marathon, but she had a left knee injury, which caused her pain and discomfort while running. This made her feel frustrated, doubtful, and scared that she wouldn't be able to run the London Marathon. She tried running through it and even taking some time off, but she was still dealing with pain in her left knee. But she applied what I'm about to share with you in the next 60 seconds, and ultimately she ended up running the London Marathon pain-free in just a few months. And she didn't even have to run 4, 5, 6 times a week. And this is Karen after she ran the London Marathon. She says, "Thank you, Tony. Success. Your program works." It's a picture of her holding her medal. Or Mark. See, Mark was also right where you are. He was just getting back into running and didn't know where to begin, which made him feel confused and overwhelmed by all the information online. He had tried following a cookie cutter training plan that he downloaded from Google, but he still wasn't making any progress with his training. But then he applied what I'm about to share with you and ultimately ended up running his first half marathon in less than a year. And he didn't even have to run 5 times a week, speed intervals, or hills. And this is Mark. This is the picture on the left was Mark during training, and then the picture on the right is Mark after he ran his half marathon. He says, "My hips are another testament to the importance of strength training. No way I could have ran 8 miles yesterday without the time in the gym and using weights." He says, "I truly believe in your program, Tony, and have benefited from your coaching and advice along the journey. Thank you." And then this is a picture of him after he ran his half marathon. As you can see, he finished in just over 2.5 hours. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what they did, including the #1 truth about avoiding injuries, getting stronger, and dialing in your race day strategies so you can ultimately become a strong runner. Is the difference between not being able to run your marathon and being able to run your marathon. The real reason why runners struggle to run their half or full marathons, and why no matter how much running you do, you'll never be able to run your marathon, and the exact process we use to run our marathons and avoid injuries for good. My name is Tony Johnson, and in the last 5 years, I've run multiple marathons with my best time being 3 hours and 34 minutes on the Austin Marathon. I went from a weak runner to a strong runner, and I've also helped over 200 runners do the same. But it wasn't always easy. When I was training for my first marathon, I had knee problems and shin splints, which led me to not being able to run for months. It made me feel nervous about not being prepared for the Portland Marathon. I tried running 5 times a week, speed intervals, and hills, but no matter what I did, I still kept getting injured. I knew that if I couldn't figure out how to train correctly for my first marathon, then I would have had to pull out of the race. Then I was talking to my dad, who has ran dozens of marathons injury-free, and he told me that I didn't need to run 5 times a week to train for my marathon. So I ran just 3 times a week and I didn't get injured again. Then I added strength training 3 times a week to get stronger. Then I used a few race day strategies and I finished my first marathon in 3 hours and 53 minutes. And here's a picture of me after the Portland Marathon. As you can see, 3 hours and 53 minutes. and then a picture of me on the right holding my medal. I had finally figured out how to run a marathon in just a few months while avoiding injuries. I realized I was never going to have to deal with serious injuries, have to take time off, or go to physical therapy ever again, nor feel nervous or scared about my upcoming race or waste time running unnecessary miles ever again. Most importantly, I now had a way to run injury-free, get stronger, and achieve my marathon goals, and ultimately become a strong runner. And now it's my mission to help 1,000 runners run a marathon because I believe that health is wealth. While training for a marathon or half marathon, you will learn how to eat healthy, take care of your body, get stronger, lose weight, and have longevity with your running. All of these skills will give you more energy, confidence, a toned, strong body, which will help you excel in your personal and professional career, ultimately leading to a happy and more fulfilled life. And I believe that you deserve an easier and safer way to run your half or full marathon. So if you've ever thought this has to be easier, you're right. And after you watch this video, you'll know exactly how to run injury-free, get stronger, and finish your marathon, and ultimately become a strong runner, no matter what injuries, setbacks, doubts, or training plans you've tried in the past. The fact that you're watching this right now tells me something about you. It's important for you to run without injuries and get rid of all the fears and doubts right now, today. You believe it's worth investing time in learning how to train for your half or full marathon. You believe it's worth investing money to get help with training for your half or full marathon. You know what you've been trying isn't working, and you know there must be a better way. Or you just have absolutely nothing better to do with your time than to be watching this video. And I'm going to do my best not to let you down, because you and I both know that most runners would rather be spending their time actually running with their friends, but most runners are injured. Most runners have to spend money going to physical therapy. Most runners are in pain and discomfort while running. Most runners have to take time off from running. Most runners never run a marathon. You and I know what most runners are: weak runners. But you're not like most runners. You're not a weak runner because you're here watching this video. So that tells me you're an action taker like myself and my clients. Action takers like us are relentlessly trying to figure out how to run injury-free, how to get stronger, and run our marathons while not getting caught up in serious injuries or having to run 5 times a week. We just want to have a good time running our half and full marathons. And we ultimately want to become a strong runner. And you could have chosen to do anything else with your time right now, but you've chosen to be here watching this video and implementing. Smart move, and thank you for your trust. You're well on your way. To reward that trust, I'm going to give you a free strength training blueprint so that you can get stronger even faster. And I will send this strength training blueprint to your email. It's titled My Battle Tested Leg Workout to Help You Run Faster, Farther, and Injury-Free. So let's dive in. The number one truth about avoiding injuries, getting stronger, and dialing in your race day strategies and ultimately becoming a strong runner is the difference between not being able to run your marathon and being able to run your half or full marathon. Steve Jobs said it best: quality is more important than quantity. One home run is much better than 2 doubles. See, most runners believe the opposite, that more is better. So they run 4 or 5, 6 times a week, run speed intervals and hills, but you've already proven that those don't work. It's like trying to drive a car that is stuck in the mud. All you are doing is spinning your tires over and over and over again. Eventually, your car will break down. The truth is, you only need to run 3 times a week. The reason Deb was able to cure her knee pain and run a half marathon was because she was giving her body enough time to recover after each run. And this is Deb after her half marathon. As you can see, it's a picture with her holding her medal. If you truly understand that you only need to run 3 times a week, then you can apply the 3-run method that I'm about to share with you in the next 60 seconds. You will be able to avoid injuries and feel strong in the next 30 days. And you'll never have to deal with injuries, taking time off, running in pain, or thinking you have to run almost every day ever again. Imagine running injury-free, getting stronger, and finishing a marathon with a time that you're proud of. How would that make you feel? Well, when you understand that you only have to run 3 times a week, then you can run your half or full marathon and become a strong runner. Just like Joanna here, who got first place and won a gold medal on her very first half marathon. She also did a few other things in 2022, like running over 500 miles. She completed 9 races, gold medal, a silver medal, on the 10K, 7 5Ks, 3 of them gold, 2 silver, and overall she received 4 golds, 3 silvers, and a 5th place. Thank you a million. Or Heather, who ran the Chicago Marathon. She says, I did it. I'm so proud. Thank you so much for your guidance. The training plan you put together for me really prepared me. Or David. David ran his first marathon in 4 hours and 8 minutes. He says, ran my first marathon in 4 hours and 8 minutes following Tony's 3 days of running and 3 days in the gym. But if you don't understand the truth that you only need to run 3 times a week, then you could very well remain as a weak runner and have a future filled with injuries, time off, and frustration forever. But I'm going to do my best to not let that happen to anyone. However, in order to do that, you need to understand the real reason why you're struggling to train for your marathon. And it's not that more is better and that you have to run 40 to 60 miles a week. You can run all day, but if you don't understand and apply what I'm about to share with you, you'll never run your half or full marathon. Here's why. Because running a marathon is a math equation. It's endurance plus strength equals marathon. If you only run, you will have the endurance to run 26.2 miles, but you won't have the strength to run 26.2 miles, which is why so many runners hit the wall, are in pain, and have to walk at the end of their race. It's like racing in a Toyota Prius that only has 100 horsepower when you actually need a Lamborghini that has 700 horsepower. Right? Most of you guys are racing in the Toyota Prius on the left, when in reality, you need to be racing in the Lamborghini. Out of these 2 cars, which one's going to win? Right? The Lamborghini. And so you have to make sure that you have as much horsepower, and you get more horsepower by getting stronger. Most runners think that they don't need to strength train, so they just run instead. But you've already proven that doesn't work. The truth is you need to have the strength to run 26.2 miles. The reason I was able to run a 3:34 marathon is because I had the leg strength to finish my race strong. As you can see, 3:34, my times are very consistent, 8:8 all the way until that very last mile. And then on the right, it's me and my dad after we ran the Austin Marathon. Once I understood this, I went from being a weak runner with injuries, running slow and feeling nervous, to running injury-free, getting stronger, and finishing my marathon, and ultimately becoming a strong runner, all in the matter of a few months. I finally understood how to achieve my marathon goals and the reason why nothing I was doing was working before. And it ultimately led me to creating the 3-run method. Because knowing that you only need to run 3 times a week and that you have to strength train to run 26.2 miles is awesome, but knowing better is only half the battle. The other half is actually doing the correct steps to run injury-free, get stronger, and dial in your race day strategies. Because the truth is, if you don't have a proven process that helps you run injury-free, get stronger, and dial in your race day strategies, you'll never be a true strong runner. So that's why I created the Ultimate Marathoner Coaching Program. It's a coaching program that helps runners train for half and full marathons without having to run 5 times a week, speed intervals, or hills. This works by replacing a couple of your runs with strength training in a very strategic way so that you'll be able to run your half or full marathon. And as a result, instead of running every day and getting injured, you'll be able to run injury-free, get stronger, and finish your half or full marathon with the time that you're proud of. With the Ultimate Marathoner Coaching Program, you can run without injuries, run your marathon, and finish strong with a smile on your face. And in this coaching program, I'm going to create a step-by-step training plan for you so you can do it too. It's the exact same training plan that my clients and I currently use to run our half and full marathons, just like Sol and Terry, who ran the St. Louis Marathon and finished just over 5 hours. And it's designed to help you go from being a weak runner to a strong runner in just a few months. The first step is called the 3-run method. So the first thing we're going to do is create your customized half or full marathon training plan. We do this by running just 3 times a week so that you can easily avoid the unnecessary wear and tear on your body from running too many miles and be able to run without getting injured. It's the same training plan I've used to run multiple marathons, like when I ran the Houston Marathon earlier this year, and then also the Austin Marathon. It's also the exact same training plan that all my clients use as well, just like Delisa, who ran the LA Marathon. She says, "Hi, Tony, I finished strong. Your training plan works well for me. Thank you." Or Matthew ran his marathon in 3 hours and 19 minutes. He says, "Hey, Tony, smoked my goal, took 30 minutes off my marathon time in 6 months. Thank you so much for your help. the strength training was an absolute game changer. It includes a completely customized, done for you training plan that's designed for you to know exactly what days to run, how far to run, and what type of runs to do so that you can run injury free. And once that's done, you'll be one step closer to running your half or full marathon. This way, you won't have to run 5 times a week, speed intervals or hills anymore, and you won't have to feel burned out or in pain anymore. And if you run more than 3 times a week, then you are increasing the chances of you getting injured. But running 3 times a week isn't enough, because if you want to run a marathon, you also need to get stronger, which leads us to the next step. The next step is your strength training workouts. The next thing we're going to do is incorporate strength training, because running 3 times a week is one thing, but strength training is vital if you want to run your marathon and actually have longevity with your running. We do this by doing a push, pull, leg split in a way that strategically gets you stronger to prevent injuries. It's the exact same strength training workouts I used to run the Austin Marathon in 1 hour and 39 minutes. And as you can see, back in 2022, I ran an hour, 39-minute half marathon with my dad, and there's a picture with me and him, and then obviously my splits. It's also the exact strength training workouts that all my clients use as well. Like Brooke. Brooke says, "Hey Tony, I ran a 4-hour, 30-minute marathon yesterday. I'm very happy. My last 6 miles were my fastest." And then I asked her, how much did the strength training pay off on the last 6 miles? And she said, my last 6 miles were my fastest. I got a second wind, which helps with the mental side of things. And she even goes on to say, I don't know how people do this without strength training. Like, my legs just wanted to go faster. Or Jody ran her marathon in just over 4.5 hours. She says, thank you for all the help. Once you start strength training, you will get stronger, which means you will be able to run faster for more miles. And once that's done, you'll be one step closer to running your marathon. This way, you won't have to run 4 to 6 times a week anymore, and you won't have to feel burned out, overtrained, or exhausted anymore. And if you don't get stronger, then you will hit the wall and have to run/walk the last few miles. But strength training isn't enough. If you want to run a half or full marathon, the final piece of the puzzle is your race day strategy. The next thing we're going to do is dial in your race day strategies, because while running injury-free and getting stronger is obviously vital, having a race day strategy is required if you want to finish your half or full marathon strong and with a time that you're proud of in the next few months. We do this by making sure that you have your pacing, water, fueling, and electrolyte strategies dialed in a way that easily avoids you hitting the wall, being in pain, or having to walk at the end of your race. It's the exact strategies that all my clients use as well, just like Shirley here, who ran the Tokyo Marathon and finished under 5 hours. She was saying how it's been her goal to run a sub 5-hour marathon for 8 years, but because she implemented the training plan and the race day strategies, she was ultimately able to achieve her goal. And this is in Tokyo with a running clock. And so really, she finished this marathon in 4.5 hours. Once that's done, you'll have a strategy for what to do before and during your race, which will allow you to finally run your half or full marathon in the next few months. And remember, that's all without running 5 times a week, speed intervals or hills, and without feeling burned out or in pain anymore. And in case you need my help along the way, I'm going to give you all the support you need, including text and email support, weekly coaching calls with me, and one-on-one coaching calls with my head coach so that you can get all of your questions answered. You now know the number one truth about avoiding injuries, getting stronger, and dialing in your race day strategies, and ultimately becoming a strong runner is the difference between not being able to run your race and being able to run your half or full marathon. The real reason why runners struggle to run their half or full marathons, and why no matter how much running you do, you'll never be able to run your marathon, and the exact process my clients and I use to run our half and full marathons while avoiding injuries and having to take time off from running for good. And you've gotten this far, which tells me one of two things. One, you're seriously ready to do whatever it takes to finally run injury-free, get stronger, and dial in your race day strategies and finally run your marathon in the next few months. Or two, you literally have nothing better to do. My guess is you're serious. So let me ask you, if you could run injury-free, get stronger, and dial in your race day strategies, do you think you could run a half or full marathon? Of course you could. How would that make you feel? And look, I get it. All of this sounds good. but you're probably wondering if this will actually work for you. The good news is, regardless of where you are, I'm confident that we can help you run your half or full marathon. The reason is nothing I've shared with you in this video is theory. This is exactly what I've done to run multiple marathons. This is exactly what I did to go from a weak runner to a strong runner. And like I said, I personally helped over 200 runners do the exact same thing. And if you're watching this, you know you can run a half or full marathon, but you just can't seem to train in a way that avoids getting injured. You're frustrated with following a training plan that has you running 4 to 6 times a week. It's just not working for you. And you just want to get strong already. You really want to have longevity with your running. You're sick of seeing everyone online run their races, and you just want to finish your half or full marathon. If you had all of that right now today, how much easier would your life be? Take a second to imagine. What would you be able to do? Run with your friends? Go hiking and do other physical activities with your spouse? Play with your kids or your grandchildren? Most runners only dream of running a marathon and becoming a strong runner. Very few actually achieve it. So now the question is, what is the ability to run injury-free, get stronger, and finish your half or full marathon worth to you? What is the feeling of crossing the finish line strong worth to you? What is having longevity with your running worth to you? If you got this far, you're obviously serious about running a marathon and becoming a strong runner. And you're obviously ready to make a change today. Otherwise, why would you be watching this today? So the obvious question is, how can you apply the 3-run method to your training so that you can run without getting injured, get stronger, and start training for your marathon today? Well, you basically have 2 options. You can take what you learned today and try to implement it all yourself with nobody to hold you accountable, guide you, and learn from, leaving you to figure out the details yourself through trial and error, and hopefully, eventually, and maybe you avoid getting injured, get stronger, and run your half or full marathon. Or you can click the button below to schedule a call and get the proven process that helps you run injury-free, get stronger, and run your marathon. Now, sadly, most runners who watch this video will do nothing with this information. Most runners never succeed at this. And if you want to get the results that most runners have, do what most runners do. Do nothing. That's why most runners stay weak runners. But if you want to be one of the rare few to know what it feels like to run a marathon and feel strong and in control over your running, then I'd like you to draw a line in the sand. Go all in. Today could be the day the struggle stops for you. Today could be the day you become a strong runner. Or if you want to keep pounding the pavement, trying to get the old way of running to work every day, if you don't want to run injury-free, if you don't want to get stronger, if you don't want to finish your half or full marathon with the time that you're proud of, if you don't want to become a strong runner, if you like getting injured, being in pain, and uncertain if you will be able to run again, then you can ignore this video. Close the page and go do whatever you feel like is better use of your time. But now is the time to decide. The opportunity won't be around forever. So right now, ask yourself, do you want to be one of many who struggle, or do you want to be one of few who win? The choice is yours, but I can only show you the door. You're the one who has to walk through it. Click the button below to schedule your call now. Either way, thank you so much for watching. I want to leave you with a case study of my client, Jody. Enjoy. Cool. Well, I'll just ask you a few questions about how your marathon went. And you're just starting there, Jody. And how much experience do you have with your running?
Oh, I've been running all my life, really. But in actual races, like half marathons, I think I started in 2015 because I ran 3 Golden Gates. I ran half in Long Beach and then a half in Orange County. So 5 altogether, halves.
And you just ran your first marathon, and you started in 2015 running races. What were some of the biggest challenges you were having with your training?
Probably not training good enough. I know when I did the Long Beach half, they advertised it as 100% flat. So I didn't really train much at all, and it was not 100% flat. There was one little hill before I kind of would be out running and just did it. But I think I feel like I'm just in better shape now.
And weren't you dealing with like a knee injury along the lines of that?
Not an injury, but my knee was hurting a little bit, but it didn't hurt at all during the race. I think the reason why is because when you told me, because before I was running like every day, except maybe one day a week. So I think I was running too much, and that's why my knee was hurting. So when you told me to run only 3 days, I think that helped a lot.
Just because there was less pounding and pressure on your knee, or do you think also was because the strength training, you're really just strengthening your knee?
Well, I think both of those. But I think, yeah, I think the strength training is what really might have helped with all the squats and stuff. Yeah, because it didn't hurt at all.
That's amazing. And then in terms of strength training, you didn't have much experience with lifting weights, did you?
Not really. I mean, I had this video that I've done for years and years and years, and it's just with little weights. It's not anything that I'd never, went to the gym or anything like that. So.
And do you feel like with us working together and the way I laid out, did you feel like you had more clarity on what to do in the gym?
Yeah, that helped me a lot. Your videos helped a lot. Although I didn't go to the gym because I didn't want to pay for a prescription that I didn't think I was going to use. So basically, I just tried to use the weights that I had at home and mimic what you were doing.
In terms of your training, obviously my training is significantly different than most people. Most people run every day, like what you were doing, and mine's 3 days of running, 3 days of lifting. How did you like that style of training?
I liked it. I really did. I knew that I had to do strength training in order to build my muscles to go the long run. So I liked that part. And basically, as it turned out, my knee wasn't hurting as much as it was when I was running like every day. And I felt like I didn't need to run every day. I mean, I got the job done on the marathon and I didn't run every day. So it all worked.
Was there a moment, or how long do you think it was until you started to notice that incorporating strength training, reducing volume was ultimately helping you with your training? Is there a certain day or time you really noticed when you started to work?
I think after I ran one of my long runs, 20 miles, that I realized that the strength training was helping. And that was one of the reasons why I was able to go the distance.
In what ways did you see strength training affecting your running?
I felt like it just didn't make my legs as tired. So like I remember doing one of my marathon or half marathons in San Francisco, the Golden Gate. And that's very, very hilly. And I remember on the last mile 12, my legs were just shaking. And so I didn't have any of that on the marathon. And that 100% is because of the strength training.
Oh, that's awesome. And so what would you tell runners who aren't doing any strength training? Would you tell them to incorporate strength training, or what would you tell them that are training for a marathon?
Most definitely incorporate the strength training, because that definitely helps. I mean, you need your legs to get you through, over the finish line, and you can't have that if you have weak legs. So that helped me tremendously.
And then just talk about the marathon itself. What was your experience like? How did the race go itself?
It went really well. It was supposed to start at 6. It was pitch black, but they had lights and everything, so that wasn't any big deal. It didn't start till like 6:20. The crowd was actually getting kind of irritated and was yelling. But once it started, it was really nice. It was in the 60s, low 60s when we started. And I think when we finished, it was up in the 70s, mid 70s. So it got really hot at the end. And the end part was all the hills. They said that there was an elevation change of 82, but when I did my tracker, my MapQuest or Map My Run, it said that the elevation change was like 620. So I'm not sure what the why there was so much difference. But yeah, mile 18 started with the hills, and mile 15 was kind of like a slow, long incline. And that was a part of the race that was super hot. So I just kind of drenched myself with water and just carried on.
Do you feel like the strength for the last 6 miles? A lot of runners, they hit the wall at mile 20, their legs are getting tired, they're pretty fatigued. Well, my theory is that they're not doing any strength training. But for you, do you feel like you're able to at least prolong the duration of when you hit the wall because of you were focusing on lifting weights while training?
Yeah, I really didn't feel like I hit any wall. At one point, my thigh hurt a little bit, but then, that was just for a brief minute. The only bad thing about the whole race is my AirPods gave out between mile 20 and 23. So no music at the end of the race, which was really, really annoying.
My AirPod died on me on mile 13 of my first marathon. So I have never trained without listening to music. And when I was playing growing up, sure, but running, lifting weights, always had my AirPods. And then I had to run 13 miles with no music on my first marathon. Worst experience of all time, but
and they were kind of like messing up before, and I thought that I should take like one that had an actual cord.
Yeah.
with me just in case. And then I totally forgot. Yeah, that was horrible.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
And
that was the
so
part.
what was your marathon time?
It was 4:38.
And so last question for you. What would you say to the people who are on the fence with working with me, who are, questioning if they should incorporate strength training in their routine? What advice would you have for them?
Oh, I would say you 100% you need to. There's just no doubt about it. I think the strength training is what made my run enjoyable, really, because I wasn't hurting. I didn't hit a wall. I didn't feel like my legs were all wobbly like when I ran one of my first half marathons. Yeah, 100% changed that run.